Hi, I'm here in our exhibition, Colors, the Cars of Summer, presented by Lamborghini Boston. We'd like to thank all of you who are subscribers to this network because you keep us going and you inspire us. Those of you who are not yet subscribers, do it right now. Hit the button, hit the bell icon to be notified when we post great new content, and check us out on the Bloomberg Connect app as well. We'll see you here. Hello and welcome to our exhibition Colors, the Cars of Summer, which runs through September 8th, 2024. I'm here with the Executive Director of the museum, David DiMuzio, and we're going to talk about summer cruising and what it means at two very different levels. And the cars that we're going to look at in this segment are two Fiats, a Crosley, and a Packard. That sounds like the setup for a joke. Two Fiats, a Crosley, and a Packard drive into a drive-in bar. But what is fascinating to me, David, is the fact that, as you know, I think we both really appreciate utility cars and what they have to offer in terms of practicality. The fact that, you know, these utility cars, the Fiat Cinquecento and the Ford Model T, literally changed the world, putting people into cars that never dreamed that they would ever have the mobility that a car afforded them. And then when you get a utility car that allows people after World War II to have fun, it really becomes something quite special. It does, yeah. It's small and not so much about horsepower. It's about the driving experience. And of course, a price point. So, you know, as you said, people can get into these cars, utilitarian cars, for not a lot of money and move about their life. It's really a great thing. But we do know there's special versions of that changes that rule. But we all know, having been around Europe, how many small, wonderful cars are really just a major part of people's daily lives. And you know, they're utilitarian, but they also are very fun to drive. And that's the thing that really makes these cars, these first three cars we're going to talk about, so special, because in the whole arena of summer driving, you really don't necessarily care about getting someplace as fast as you can. It is very much a part of the journey, being very much a part of the experience. And in the case of the Cinquecento Giardiniera, it's also wonderful because it's a car of such great style for what it is. And of course, it was very practical, the fact that they made these wood wagons, because there was a shortage of steel in Italy after World War II. So it was more practical to build these wagons with wood bodies as they had before the war than as they would later in all steel. And it gives it a certain sort of beach dash today that was very much appreciated for the practicality in the time. Yeah, and a family theme. I think they marketed the wood paneled version towards family and fun. There certainly was a steel paneled version of this that was more utilitarian, more like a tradesman would drive. But you know, the Woody, as we call them in America, is really a soft spot in our hearts. You know, it's like they're so cool. You know, and to see a little version of this in a Fiat, it's just really cool, really special. And what's also great, you alluded to this, about this is a family car. Most of us here in America don't think of a car this small as being a family car, but when you think about the fact that there were entire families carried on scooters, you realize that this was incredible comfort and luxury. Yeah. And I love the period, as you see for this, where you see the family headed out for picnics by the lake, by the seashore. And you can actually use one of these vehicles in a very practical way, because vehicles today are built to such a standard that a vehicle this small has almost no room inside because of all of the side intrusion bars and all these things. But here, it's the engine, the wheels, the gearbox, and a box that you put seats in. So you've got plenty of room inside these things. That it's a 5-passenger, come on. Yeah. No trouble. Absolutely, and one of the things also that makes the Topolino Giardiniera so special to me is the fact that the cleverness of the packaging is so incredibly brilliant. We've spoken about this before on this network, about the fact that Alec Isagonis
with his brilliant design of packaging for the Austin Mini, was absolutely hailed. But Dante Giacosa had done this before World War II with the Cinquecento, the Topolino.
Right.
And you cannot, until you actually get into one of these cars, you cannot believe the way that they get all of this space and all this utility out of a very small footprint.
Yeah, it's very true. And so much fun to be in. You know, they're so different than modern cars in their simplicity, and but yet they seem dependable. They start up, they run well. Here on Aquidneck Island, where the speed limit's no more than 40 miles an hour, perfect.
Do you need more than 16.5 horsepower? I don't think so.
Not here. No, you don't.
And speaking of the American version of that, the Crosley Hotshot Super Sports that we have here.
Yeah.
And the Crosley is such an interesting car for me, as people who've watched the video on the Crosley Hotshot Super Sports that I drove, and the fact that I had a Crosley race car, and the fact that the first Sebring 6 Hours was won by a Crosley, which is quite amazing, beating a Ferrari 212, Ferrari 166. It's also interesting to see, again, this very utilitarian pre-war American people's car that has this. Powell Crosley liked to say that this was the first post-war American sports car, and he was right.
Yeah, and small. I think he understood, and he commented about how large American cars were, and this is an opportunity for me to make a small fun sports car. Not much horsepower. Horsepower to weight ratio is pretty good though, very important. This car is great because it has a history in Newport. It was donated to the museum. We just learned recently it was sold locally, and that down on Mill Street. But we also learned that he had a summer office here in the Audrain building, and that in fact he signed the papers to buy this car in the Audrain building in 1951.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, Judy McClellan, our wonderful late member who donated the car to the museum, was such a great character, and she came to our Audrain Cars and Coffee all the time with Toad, as the car is nicknamed, and it was wonderful to see her in the car, and we were so honored that she thought of us to donate the car to when she wasn't driving it anymore. And this, much like the Giardiniera, is also a car. These small cars just bring a smile to your face when you drive them, and everyone is happy to see you in them. Again, what could be better for the spirit of summer than a car that brings everybody joy? Even
for me, Donald, it makes me smile to drive this car, to drive this little car. I love it.
It's absolutely fantastic, and again, taking a very utilitarian theme, the Crosley Hotshot or Super Sports is a rather impractical version of a very practical car.
Yes.
And there's a great joy in that as well, which we will see in the next car we talk about, which is the most impractical version of a practical car ever devised, the Fiat 600 Jolly. Holy cow. I mean, the Fiat 600 was designed as the bigger brother of the Cinquecento, with, instead of the 2-cylinder engine, a 4-cylinder engine. In these new ones, the early cars had 4-cylinder engines, but the Nuova Cinquecento was a 2-cylinder air-cooled. And here you have a car designed to take that Italian family of 5 wherever they needed to go, to school, to church, on vacation. And here you have something with no top, no doors, wicker seats. It is absolutely amazing how, and on top of it all, these were all custom built by Carrozzeria Ghia, and they cost twice what a practical version of the 600 cost.
Yeah, essentially a custom-bodied car of the period. So, 1959, this was a very limited production car, and obviously designed and thought about for a very specific summer resort, motor yachting kind of environment. And a bunch of them did come to America, as we know.
Yes.
And they were popular here as well, in small numbers, hundreds, not thousands.
And this is one of those rare U.S. delivery cars,
right,
which is very special. It had slightly larger headlights than the Italian delivery cars, and of course the speedometer denominated in miles per hour. And this is also, when you think about the fact that you have a vehicle that is designed to do nothing but give people fun. And it takes you to another level of motoring. I mean, summer motoring is also about, we talked about the destinationless drive. We talked about sort of driving for driving's sake. We see here on Aquidneck Island and all around southern Rhode Island, something that people see in a lot of resort areas where the special summer car comes out, the Carmen Ghia and the other little Beetle convertibles and the Mustangs and everything that people could drive through the spring and the fall as well, but they are especially summery cars.
Yeah, open cars.
Exactly.
Including several Jollies we see around town here now. Some of them reproductions, but several from the period that are, they're the perfect Newport car.
And the Jolly is also one of those cars that, as a collector car, appeals to so many different age groups, demographics, not so much because an original one is a very costly car.
Yeah.
But they appeal to so many different age groups. There are young people that really love these things for the quirkiness of them. There are people who remember them when they were new who are more mature, like you or I maybe, that also love them for what they represent. And there's also that dress up, dress down ability these cars have. You can drive one of these and ride in one of these in a swimsuit or in your summer finery.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. And very eye-catching. Everyone notices you going by in a car like this.
And no one resents you for it, which is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, there's another. The last car we're going to look at in this particular group is a car that also has a very upmarket appeal and connotation, but in a totally different way. And I think this is a car that, to me, also says summer in a wonderful resort. Let's take a look at the Packard.
Excellent.
Summer in Newport and this incredible blue 1930 Packard 8 Phaeton. Can you imagine you've come up to Newport from your townhouse in Philadelphia or New York, or down from your townhouse in Boston, and you've arrived in your private rail car, and your chauffeur has already come down with the Packard. And so he meets you at the train, you get into it, pull your cap a little tighter, and before you get to the house, let's go for a ride around Ocean Avenue. Can you just imagine, 1930?
Well, we can, because we've done it ourselves without the train part. But what a wonderful car. I mean, it's big, it's quiet. Whether it's an 8 or 12 or 16 cylinder, it didn't really matter. It was about, it has a lot of weight, it's a big car, plenty of low end torque, it's very quiet, very comfortable to ride in. And then a dual cowl Phaeton. So you're sitting in the back seat, you got your own windshield, you're isolated from the front driver, you feel like you're in your own cocoon. It's just the most wonderful experience to drive around this thing. And Packards, of all the old cars we have in the collections, this thing always starts. It's never a problem. It's very dependable, fun to drive. The two-tone blue paint with the big white wall tires, it's a statement. Like none other today, especially with all the white and gray and black cars in the world. So to see it today, I think it's the same impression you would have had in 1930.
Absolutely. You mentioned the fact that this car is all about effortless motoring, quiet, effortless motoring, and it also is a car which is so incredibly consistent. What you see is what it delivers. You look at this car and you expect to have a certain experience in it, and it gives you exactly what you see.
Yeah.
And there's something so wonderful about the timelessness of Newport. And this is a car that literally, I've said this so many times before, that I love old cars because they are time machines. You put yourself into this car and you drive around here, and it is as if you are in its element. And it's such an amazing thing to experience as well, because yes, there is a very, very, very big class difference in a 1930 Packard versus a 1930 Ford. And today we get to experience both of those worlds in a way that perhaps people in 1930 didn't get to experience. 1930 was a pretty rough time for a lot of people.
Right.
But for the people that built this car, the people who could own this car, people who maintain this car, people who use this car, it's a great tribute to all of them that this car has been preserved so beautifully that we can enjoy it today in a way that gives us both a window into the past and also, I think, a glimpse into what it's like to live a truly present life. Because driving in this car, you are surrounded by all of the senses, and a Packard, being as quiet as it is, also lets you appreciate nature. People talk about the experience of driving an electric car,
right,
as opposed to driving a really noisy, modern, high-performance car, or even a luxury car that sort of cocoons you from everything that's going on outside. This is a car that connects you with the world.
It
so
does.
It's the perfect summer car.
And it is as quiet as an electric car. That's how quiet this car is when you're just, casually going down the road. Just wonderful. And also from a design point of view, Raymond Dietrich designs beautiful bodywork. It's timeless. It truly is. So even today, you look at it and you think, wow. And if you compare it to other cars from the 1930s, it's in the upper 2/3 of great design.
Yes, design, of course, is one of my great passions. And this is also a very interesting point because we're just seeing that crossover between factory bodies and custom bodies with the establishment of the art and color section at General Motors in 1927.
Right.
And Dietrich designing these bodies for Packard as factory bodies, which would have been bodies that you would have paid a coach builder a lot of money to design and build for you just a few years before.
That's right. So, available from the factory, so to speak. So it's great.
And of course, in this exhibition being named Colors, the Cars of Summer, as you mentioned, this amazing blue, to see it here by the ocean with a wonderful summer sky and the green trees and the vegetation and the flowers is just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and even with the top up, because there are side curtains but no roll of windows, so it's an open car no matter what.
So whether your tastes run for the utilitarian in a fun manner, or the frivolous or the luxurious, there's something for everyone here in this exhibition, Colors, the Cars of Summer. Come see us here in the gallery on Bellevue Avenue through September 8th, and you can enjoy this exhibition in all of its wonder, or join us back here in the Audrain Museum Network, where we'll show you even more special vehicles from this exhibition in our upcoming videos. Thanks for joining us.